Hello everybody, we're at the Action Duchenne Conference 2017 and I'm joined here by Jo Eames. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, certainly. So my name's Jo Eames. I'm a trustee of Action Duchenne. I am a mother to William, who is going to be 5 in January, Phoebe, who's 2.5, and my husband Matt.
Wonderful. Well, do you want to tell us a little bit about your son William? And
yeah, certainly. So William was diagnosed just after his 3rd birthday, January 2016. We went through a kind of process of taking him to the GP, being referred to the community paediatrician. We were concerned about his ability to walk up and down stairs. That's what the real thing for us was. Thinking that he may need some physio and some, strengthening. Was not aware of Duchenne, had heard of muscular dystrophy, but certainly wasn't aware of Duchenne. We had a phone call late January 2016 from the community paediatrician to tell us that we were referred to Great Ormond Street, where we went and we had the diagnosis of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So, shock diagnosis.
Yes, no, I can imagine. And are there any coping mechanisms that you can recommend things that you've been through over the last few months?
I think when you first get the diagnosis, I think you've got to accept that you're kind of going through a process of grief, of loss. Of loss of kind of the life you thought you were going to have, you thought your child was going to have. You've got to be open to that and just let it happen. And understand as well that other people take things, they feel for you and they feel sorry for you and they might act differently towards it as well. And also your partner might act quite differently in the way that you act. So, try and deal with all of that. That's kind of the first process you go through. And then I think you go through an understanding that this isn't going to go away. Duchenne is here to stay, and you need to kind of start doing something about it. The way I personally coped with it was I actually wrote a personal blog, which for the first 6 months or so, I started it straight away, as soon as he was diagnosed. And for the first 6 months or so, I would write daily, weekly, about my feelings and my feelings about Duchenne, my feelings about other people. But after about 6 months, I allowed my husband to start reading my blog so he could kind of understand in more detail where I was coming from. Yeah. I think he really did understand, but it allowed him to kind of really see how I was taking it as the mother. We went through, after about 6 months, we did the genetic testing, and I was told that I was a carrier. So that was another flaw that you kind of then, as a mum, you feel a bit guilty and you kind of try and get over that. We then were told 6 months later that they got it wrong, and that I wasn't a carrier. So then you go through another, do I feel happier now? But actually, it made no difference. It made no difference to the diagnosis. It was still there. It just made a difference, I suppose, that I didn't have to then go through the, cardiac testing and that side of things. And it might be a high percentage that our daughter isn't a carrier as well. But we know that risk still lies there, because you can't 100% know that you're not a carrier. So for me, probably the initial way that I coped was the blog. Yeah. And people don't know it really, but I write poetry in my time. Wow. Never show anyone. But for me, that kind of allowed me to write poetry more about my anger at it all. Yeah. So that was kind of how I coped with it. I think another way we coped with it was our community of friends. Things happen and some people can't cope with it, and so friends do change when these things happen, but you're a bit shocked to begin with, but you carry on and go with those that have been supportive and your rocks, and I can definitely name my rocks. But we also then had that support of people wanting to do something for us, so we stepped in with the fundraising.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what fundraising have you done? So
we have we have our Facebook page, Defending William Against Duchenne. We haven't set up as a charity. We very much just set up as our group, Team William. Yeah. And we have had someone do a skydive for us. We have had someone climb the 16 peaks in Wales for us, the 3,000 challenge. We have had Hertfordshire Basketball Association, all their players' fines for the year were donated to Action Duchenne, so different ways. We've had schools doing, mufti days for us, that side of things. We did Parallel London, and we had a team of about 35 from the age of 0 to 76 that came along, so family and friends. We did that. So, and a couple of other things as well that we've done, and we've probably raised, since William was diagnosed, about £16,000 for Action Duchenne.
That's incredible. Wow.
So, yeah.
And what was it that made you choose to support Action Duchenne?
When William was diagnosed, we were told, don't Google lots of things, just go on the reputable sites. Action Duchenne was one of those. So I looked on there, and it was very much that I liked the way they were. I liked, their aims and what they were aiming towards. And for me, rather than the glory of it all, they were looking at really, let's look at a cure, let's look at research, let's look at Duchenne. And they've been around, they're established, they've been around. So I personally liked that side of things. So when someone wanted a fundraise, which was only about 5 months after William was diagnosed, we kind of said, well, if you could do it for Action Duchenne, that would be great, because we know it specifically goes to Duchenne, rather than any muscular dystrophy. So that's why we chose Action Duchenne, and we've just gone from there.
That's wonderful. Gosh, and well, you're now a trustee at Action Duchenne. What's it like to be a trustee at Action Duchenne?
It's lovely. I mean, it's a lovely community. It's a lovely charity. It's a very small charity, but it's really, really nice. I've worked within the third sector quite a bit, so I'm kind of aware of how charities and things work. But for me, I just wanted to volunteer and do that extra bit, to help William, to help any other boys with Duchenne. And I also felt like maybe I'll learn more about it, hear more about it, so a bit selfless as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jo.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.